Arsenal come streaming forward now in surely what will be their last attack. A good ball by Dixon, finding Smith. But Thomas charging through the midfield. Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas, right at the
end. Hello and welcome to Gooners in the USA podcast, where normally you'd be hearing Andy's sexy voice right now kicking off the podcast. But this week I'm flying solo. Andy joined the boys from the Clock End podcast earlier this week, and apparently he was so impressed with their professionalism that he came back to me asking for a bigger wage packet. And I'm currently pulling an Arsenal. I'm kind of dillying back and forth. I got Dick Law making decisions for me right now, so leaning towards paying it, but we'll find out by next week. I'm actually not flying solo, though, today, because I am joined by some gentlemen who need no introduction, but it's kind of my thing to do introductions, so I'm going to do it anyway. Anyone who's been following my Twitter feed the last few days, the podcast Twitter feed, I should say, will know that I'm in New Orleans this weekend with about 300 of my closest friends for the 5th annual edition of Gooner Gras. And this year, thanks to the fine gentlemen of Nottingham Forest, we've been able to be joined by a couple of gents from ArsenalFanTV. Thank you, Robbie.
How you doing?
Doing great. Troopz, you're in the room.
Back again. Come
on. And we may hear a peep from the man himself, my new friend Tao, as well, a little bit later on. But welcome back to the pod, Robbie. We had you on last April. Appreciated your time then, and we are also joined by a good friend of mine, Steve Manos, aka LA Gooner. Hey, Steve.
Hello. How are y'all doing?
They're not gonna be able to answer you because.
I understand, but I'm in New Orleans. I gotta say y'all.
Yeah, and Steve is someone I've gotten to know in the last couple of years. Fantastic guy. Puts out a lot of good content on YouTube and just a goodwill ambassador for the Gooner lifestyle here in the USA. And just a great guy. And he's struck up a friendship with Arsenal Fan TV and with Robbie that has led us to this moment where they've come into town for Gooner Gras. So. I don't know about you guys. I am too old for this shit, though. I mean, I don't drink, as you all know.
I know you. You had that water drink.
That was all water, and I just have bad luck with food poisoning. My head is pounding. I'm shriveled up like a dehydrated raisin. But so how did this go down? We get knocked out of the FA Cup, third round. And who picks up the phone? How did this visit come together?
Well, how it kind of works was like last year. Steve was telling me about Gooner Gras, and I was like, "What's Gooner Gras?" And he was saying, that fans will come together in New Orleans and that, and sort of like there's a parade and stuff. I was like, "That sounds really, really good. That'd be something really great to cover." Now, at the time when Steve was telling me about it, we had a game on, so I was like, "Steve, can't really come. There's a game going on." And then he was talking to me about it this year. And I said, Steve, you know what? Might come, depending on who we get in the next round of the FA Cup. If it's a sort of a really small team, maybe I could get somebody to cover that, and I could come down and cover this at the same time. And then maybe it might be nice to show me down there watching it with you guys, and then have somebody else up in the UK covering the game. And then of course Nottingham Forest knocked us out of the whole thing, so I just rung up Steve and said, "Yeah, we're on our way, man."
Yeah, we got a little jaded. We'll see who we're going to play in the fourth round, not if.
That was us being a bit too arrogant, thinking that we were definitely going to get from, which we normally do, always get beyond the third round. But and so we decided to come over. I thought, let's bring. It's a big mistake, but let's bring Troopz with us as well.
I don't know if it was a mistake because you can leave him here and not have to deal with him anymore.
But yeah, we've come over and it's just been an amazing event. It really has. We've just been blown away by it. I've been over a couple of times before and seen you guys in action.
I was going to ask you about that. The first time I met you was in New York. Actually, my buddy Rio told me there's this guy on a YouTube channel that is starting to blow up. And he just couldn't wait to meet you. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but and so I ended up running into you and bringing the two of you together. It was hilarious. But so that was one thing. LA, I think you started interacting with the supporters group a little bit more, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
But both of those visits were visits of the club.
Yeah,
this is different.
Yeah, and they're both visits where there's loads and loads of fans, guaranteed. Arsenal are playing, so there's lots of activities being put on by the club and by the various groups up here. I think this one's a bit more special for me because there's no game on. We're knocked out, but yet still there's groups come from all over America.
We all had non-refundable tickets, so.
And then, just to take in the event, and then New Orleans is it's a really cool city.
Have you been here before?
I've never been in New Orleans before, and I've really, really enjoyed my time here. And it's just been an incredible few days. I've really enjoyed it. I know Troopz, you can see his eyes are all red. He was out to about 5 in the morning last night, but
I've never been happier that this is an audio podcast than I am at this moment right now.
But it's been great to meet all the passionate Arsenal fans from all over America once again. And I'd urge anybody, you get a chance to come over for this. If you come from the UK, you want a little week away in January.
It's lit.
This would be. Well, in the truth, this would be brilliant.
You can tell from my voice, blood. It's mad out.
And I've just been told, and this is unconfirmed. It's not final, but Gooner Gras 6 is tentatively February 14th to 17th. So we're calling it the Valentine's Day Massacre next year. So it's not always in January. It's like Easter. It jumps around. It's like Easter and Hanukkah and all that crap. It just jumps around based on the lunar calendar. But so I don't know where that'll line up with. It'll probably just be a league game, but I think your idea from last year would work well next year, assuming that you're not knocked out of the league by that point.
Well, we're always knocked out of the league by that anyway.
So Troopz, were you surprised that they let you in the country?
You're sort of vlogging it.
Was it like when you're stealing something from the store and you're just kind of looking back, like when are they gonna grab me? When are they gonna grab me?
When are they gonna come?
And take me away.
But I got in still.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Now, can you get out is the question.
That's what I'm saying. Will England let me back in? That's the thing.
So this is the stuff, these kind of gatherings that I live for this. I've said on the podcast a lot that whatever happens on the pitch, it can drive you mental sometimes. It's a roller coaster for sure, this Arsenal thing that we've all subjected ourselves to. It's, you can be thrilled one moment and just be down in the dumps if you're just paying attention to what's happening on the pitch. But these kind of gatherings, whether it's every week at the pub or once or twice a year at these kind of things, man, that's what being a Gooner is all about. And I feel bad for people who just live and die with what happens on the pitch. It's easy to fall into that, but you're missing half the experience or more if you don't get out and associate with your fellow.
I love the way you guys down here are almost like a family.
Yeah.
So you'll come together, you're almost like a family. I feel sometimes up in the UK,
it's split.
There's too much It's like
you got Wenger in, Wenger out. You got other things. With you lot, it's like whoever. It don't matter if you're Wenger in or Wenger out. You will link up.
And there are. It's not. I get the feeling people have the impression that American supporters are mostly like Wenger in or soft or or don't really have like. That's not the case at all. There's as equal and as vociferous of a divide here as what you have over there. It's just,
There's more unity with you lot. With us, it's just mad.
I think in England, or shall I say in the UK, the part of the problem is everybody's. There's this sort of thing where everybody's competing to be that number one Arsenal fan, and it's ridiculous. We're all Arsenal fans. And we should all be just working towards a common cause that we just want to win on the pitch and we just want to... But sometimes it's as if everybody's trying to be that fan. I've been going longer than you've been going. I was there at Highbury, you weren't. I saw the Invincibles, you didn't. You just turned up yesterday.
I personally would never remind somebody 175 times that I was in London for Anfield '89. I was in London. I wasn't at Anfield, but I never talk about it 80 times a podcast. But it doesn't make me better than anybody else. It's just
in the bio.
No, exactly. It's I have a mug that they put beer in my at the local pub. Like if you go there a lot and you pay money, they'll give you a mug, and 1989 is on my mug, like the inscription on the mug. So I catch a lot of shit for that sometimes. Me and a certain someone else that likes to talk about 1989 a lot too.
But listen, it's nice that you can be proud that you were there.
But you got to welcome. A new Gooner is just as important as as associating with someone who who can name you every lineup from.
We were all brought along, So I was brought along by my cousins to watch Arsenal. We were all brought along by people. So if they had that attitude when they would bring us along, we wouldn't even have started supporting the club.
People turn their noses up sometimes if someone's like, "Oh, what's an Arsenal?" And I'm like, "All right, come on, we'll show you."
Yeah.
And then 40 beers later, he's an Arsenal supporter.
I was chatting to this girl last night actually, and she was saying, "Listen, I've only been supporting the club for a couple of months." So she goes, "I hope, I don't know a lot. I'll be honest with you, but I'm starting to get to know and learn." I said, "That's brilliant."
And that's how it happens. Spouses come in, cousins are here, and
that's how you build. That's how you build those, But sometimes in the UK, as I said, there seems to be too much competition on who is that fan, and it shouldn't be about that. I remember we talking of '89, and I know Amanda as well. She's also there at '89.
That's who I was referring to a minute ago. Of course, but, she knows that.
Do you know what? With Amanda, we had they had the premiere of '89, the movie, and there was going to be like lots of ex-players there and that. And I just thought to myself straight away, I wasn't actually there at Anfield in '89. I watched it on TV. So I was like, it would be nice to get Amanda, who was there, to speak to, the guys that were there on the night, to speak to Michael Thomas and to speak to these guys. Now, for me, it's not about me saying, "Oh no, I want to be that guy who speaks to these people." I just thought she was there. It'd be nice for her to speak to them, and that's what it should be about. We should be about Arsenal as a football club. We can have different opinions. We allow that. That's what ArsenalFanTV is all about. The differing opinions of different fans. But at the end of the day, we're all supporting Arsenal. And, I really like the vibe you guys have got here, because I've seen that over the past few days, that everybody's here is just here to support Arsenal, have a good time. They've got different opinions, but
the hug is a massive thing, man, this weekend. There's just hugs going all over the place. And I mean, I had to take a bunch of showers last night afterwards, but no, it's a very warm community. So and speaking of ArsenalFanTV, we talked about the background of your channel last April when we were on, and kind of went into some of the controversy. I mean, it was a time where a lot was going on.
It was
some negative stuff was going on, and
lots of negativity last year. Trust me.
And
I apologize.
So I don't want to take the interview in that direction again, but I will repeat something I said last year. And you're talking about the getting all different kind of viewpoints. To me, I'm not so much into the post game interviews. I mean, I know that's what people watch for, but for me, it's about like the interest pieces, like when you went to Dortmund and stood on the yellow wall, and I don't know who it was that posted the thing about how in exchange for Aubameyang we're getting you, like we sent you. That is one of the funniest tweets I've ever seen. But
we see that's it, Mike.
I love that.
A lot of times, Mike, people don't see that with ArsenalFanTV. They just think about the after game stuff. There's a lot more to us than that. That's why we're here. Yeah. That's why we're here in New Orleans. We're covering this event. We're bringing this event to the masses and showing them that, listen, this is what these guys are doing over here in America, and if we weren't here,
you got to take all these videos to Ian Wright. I'm telling you.
I think with the Ian Wright thing, I think he apologised for that. I mean, I think he knew he was wrong to say what he said.
I forgave him, and he told me he felt much better after I forgave him.
I know, right? He's a guy. He's a very, when you speak to him, he's a very passionate, very emotional guy. He says things sometimes that he regrets after. He did apologise for that. But listen, we're here covering this event off of our own back. We didn't have to. We could have just taken the weekend off this weekend and just chilled at home. So, we're about Arsenal Football Club. We give fans their opinions, but also we like to highlight events like what's going on this weekend. It's fantastic.
Well, and it's great. I mean, you have a platform.
Tell about Belarus, what they're doing with your video.
Yeah, well, that's true. I was saying to Steve that we was over in Belarus the other day, and I stood up.
I was over in Belarus the other day.
Yeah, for the game. We played Batty Borisov.
As you do.
As you do.
Yeah, exactly.
But just before, we filmed like similar to what we've been doing over here in the US, where we do like daily vlogs and what we try to do is focus a lot on not just the game, but also the city, what it's like, and things like that. And I was just before the game, Batty Borisov, I stood up, got inside the ground quite early, and this guy comes up to me in like a suit, looking like Russian mafia. He comes up to me and he goes, "You Robbie?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I was thinking, what have you done?
Yeah.
You're gonna get kicked out now or something like that." And he goes, "I'm from the Belarus embassy." And he goes, "I saw your video on, on what you've been doing over the past couple of days." And he goes, "I just want to say it's fantastic stuff." He goes, "We've actually been using that video to show people, to try and get tourists in." He goes, "We're using it at the embassy, your video." And he said to me, he goes, "We've been trying to portray the message for a long time now to people that Belarus is not that old, rundown Eastern European country.
It's the new model.
Cold War.
Belarus, it's not that bad."
Yeah, he's saying, it's not that Cold War place. It's a very modern place that's on the up, and it is a modern place on the up. I was really surprised by it. It's really nice. So, but those sort of things are really nice. You know what I mean? And also by doing those away trips, sometimes like the ones we've been doing in the Europa League this year, we get to show people what it would be like to go to an away game in Europe. Remember, what we have to remember is that the majority of fans that follow Arsenal Football Club will never ever get to go and see a game like that. Yeah. So when we go to games like that, we're really conscious about that, and we want to showcase, we want to show people what the away experience of going to see.
And we saw that firsthand watching you guys walking around Athens a few years ago.
Athens, yeah, we saw you in Athens.
And,
yeah.
But I mean, you're absolutely right. That's if you can't do it, and you can't if you can't. But at least live vicariously through somebody that's showing you what it's about.
Yeah. So we really love doing that. Really love showing people that experience. I mean, like when you, especially those sort of away games, because the European away games are really good. And every time they're always different experiences because the people all consume their football in a kind of different way. I mean, that was a crazy Olympiacos. Their fans, unbelievable. Red Star Belgrade, their fans are absolutely unbelievable. You never see nothing like it. They lost 1-0, and half an hour later, they're still jumping up and down inside the ground. They were mad. I mean, I wish we had that at the Emirates, So
they've got nothing else to do though. But I want to go online now and search like Belarus tourism, and is there going to be a picture of you? Like
I don't know. It might be. Who knows? I mean, but it's. You can go on an Air France plane and you can watch one of our videos. They've got the video of us, the interview with Gary Neville.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Yeah, somebody tweeted me it.
Yeah.
They were like, "Troopz, look, you lot are on the plane, fam." I was like, "Rotted, that's mad."
Yeah, that's on Air France. So if you go on an Air France plane, you can get that video.
Catch the man then.
Well, this weekend I've been posting some videos and pictures from some of the better moments of the trip. Some of which have involved you. And
I saw the singing one.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that. I probably should have asked permission. But
I did most of the singing. That's why my voice is probably gone.
Yeah, it sounded dreadful as well.
Our Twitter's
don't hate.
Been blowing up with tweets, new names, and people responding to the pictures. I mean, I gotta say half of them are just tweeting back 1 sniff, 2 sniff. But anyway, it's just good to see so many Gooners responding and planning on coming this year. Believe me, I've seen that video more in the last 24 hours than I ever wanted to. But one last part about Gooner Gras. I just want to give a massive shout out to the NOLA Gooners, the New Orleans Gooners, the crew of Arsenal.
Yeah.
I'm going to name names, and I know I'm going to forget somebody, but Tiffany, who we had on the podcast a couple weeks ago,
she's brilliant.
Sean, Fredo, also a former guest of the podcast, Jill, Colin. I know there's so many more of you guys that put this together, but I mean, you might think it's just like, okay, let's rent out a restaurant and just tell people what the dates are going to be, and everything takes care of itself. But there's so much organization that goes into it. There's a charitable tie-in to the New Orleans Jesters, which is soccer camps for disadvantaged children, and the Arsenal Foundation as well. I mean, it's just such a well-rounded event that you forget how much planning it could take. And this is the 5th year. It's pretty much doubling every year. It's like the half-life of a. It's just. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do next year when 750 people or 1,000 people show up, because it's going to be a little harder to get everybody in one place. But that's a good problem to have. So just wanted to give a shout out to them for the event.
Definitely.
So on the pitch, we got to talk about that because we are an Arsenal podcast. It's not that bad at the moment, other than the reason we didn't have a game this week, but the one game we did have. I feel like we're kind of emerging a little bit from a dark period. I mean, we had some shit results on the pitch. the Alexis saga hanging over our heads, the FA Cup disaster. But, you know, in the last couple of weeks, you can almost, maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but it seems like we're kind of emerging from it a little bit. So, you know, after the Alexit relief game against Palace, they still showed a lot of unity in a strong showing in a cup semifinal against Chelsea. So here we are, you know, going back to Wembley again. The 11 we put out for the Chelsea game was unchanged, other than Ospina, and that was a relief to me because the Ballon d'Or winner, Ballon d'Or Nacho Monreal being in the starting 11. As soon as I saw that and that he was fit from his injury, I started making hotel reservations for the cup final. So, I mean, do we have a better replacement for Alexis right now than Nacho Monreal? I mean, is he the guy? Just stick him up front. He's a goal machine. So, like, first 7, 8, 10 minutes, Chelsea did have the better of us, and they put the ball in the back of the net twice, which one of them actually counted. And it was that diving piece of shit Hazard with a great run and a finish that I thought Ospina might have been able to do a little bit better on. I mean, he kind of got...
It was kind of straight at him.
It almost looked like a reverse Michael Thomas, like the way he kind of waited for Ospina to make his move and then hit it with the outside of his foot, but a little less impactful than the Michael Thomas goal. But I mean, that was just probably one of the only really, truly poor moments of the game, so I don't want to dwell on that too much. But the goal a few minutes later... We score another goal off of a corner kick, which our corner kicks either end up in the back of our own net
or hit the first man,
and then they come back there, or we score off of them. Now all of a sudden it's been bizarro because I know that this is called a Rudiger own goal, but come on, man. I mean, Nacho knew what he was doing. You can see him when the ball.
He's like, all right, see Alonso there. If I get the angle of his head, on the corner of that piece of shit, it's gonna go boom, boom.
You can see. I went back and watched it in super slow mo, and one of his eyes is on the ball, watching it come in from. I think it was Ozil that hit the corner. The other eye is.
No, Xhaka.
It was from Xhaka. Okay.
I can't believe he actually beat the first man.
The other, he had to put it like 40 feet in the air. So the other eye is lining up Rudiger and Marcos Alonso. He's got the protractor eye. You guys call it a protractor? Over there, the thing that shows you the angles and stuff. Yeah. You know, he's got them lined up, and I swear to God, he did that on purpose. He was doing math equations and shit. And
2 + 2 is 4.
It's
minus 1. That's 3 quick maths.
It's a travesty he wasn't given his 4th goal this season there. But
remember when what's his name scored a goal like that, Clichy, against Middlesbrough? And they gave it to him years back, and it was dodgier than that. Fam.
It was headed on frame. It was headed on frame. It might have been saved, but you know, I think that should be worth 2 goals. But speaking of Nacho, though, I mean, before I go off too much of a rant on him, I guess it's too late for that. But it wasn't long ago that defenders for Arsenal pretty much were written off when they turned 30. I mean, as recently as Bakary Sagna not getting the length of the contract that he wanted. I mean. Now all of a sudden we've got Koscielny and Nacho, the geezers, and I mean Nacho's basically wrapped up the Golden Boot in the World Cup next year already. As you can tell, I'm a bit of a fan at this moment. Yeah. But I mean by the time he's 37, we might be able to get 200 million quid for him.
Well, funny enough with Nacho, I remember when he first came in though. Everybody wanted him gone. Everybody slated him.
He was weak.
He used to get a lot of really unfair criticism because he was playing out of position. He was playing as a centre half a lot of time. So many times he was isolated on his own. You know, the ball would be given away by the attackers. There'd be no sort of cover, and you just see 2 players running in on him. You know, so but. He has really become a vital player in the team. He's become really important, hasn't he?
He's probably our best centre. He's probably our best defender, fam.
He is right now, yeah, definitely.
Look, he's keeping Kolasinac out of the team, blood. I rate Tank highly, fam. You understand?
He's keeping
him out.
He's keeping him out. He's keeping Maitland-Niles out when there's a back and forth. He saw Gibbs off, which no one expected. You know, he was holding it down until Gibbs was ready for it. And
he's probably been our best performer this season. He's been excellent. He's been, and last season he's been very, very consistent.
Semi-final, City, equaliser. What a goal, blood.
And it's easy.
He gets big goals, you know.
It's very consistent.
His goals are good.
He's a big game player, blood.
And it kind of looked the other day now that Alexis is there, he can get forward even more.
Freedom.
he kind of like before, he was getting forward.
And he stopped.
And then he stops and gives it to Alexis and says, go on.
Well, that's what everybody had to do. That's...
Well, that was it. I mean, everything
went down the left.
Went through Alexis Sanchez. If you're at a game and you're in the North Bank like me, when you're in the second half, everything's on the left-hand side. Very rarely do you see the ball now and again going out to the right, but everything... Granit Xhaka always tried to find Alexis. Mesut Ozil tries to find Alexis all the time.
Robbie.
All of them, you know. So maybe, you know, without Alexis being there, there's a bit of a better balance. I'm not saying, listen, Alexis Sanchez is a world-class player. We're going to miss him. We're going to miss him a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, in actual teamwork-wise, the team seems to be playing better at the moment, this moment in time.
Yeah, there's no question.
Without him, because they're playing with more of a freedom. And I remember, like, I was saying this last year to some fans that with this whole Alexis thing is that I didn't like his attitude sometimes. I remember the game at Bournemouth when he just threw off his gloves at the end of the game and stormed down the tunnel and stuff like that. And I remember arguing with some fans, it was me and Mo.
Yeah. Me and you have had arguments as well, blood.
Me and you have had arguments.
And you and Mo and
me and Mo was having an argument and I said, I didn't like that. Well, what is that? You know what I mean? We were 3-0 down, we come back, we brought it back to 3-3. Listen, I kind of get what he's saying that maybe Giroud celebrated a bit too much.
Yeah, blood.
But we was 3-0 down, and we
blood.
brought it back to 3-0. And then at the end of the game, when the other players come over, he just went off, and he used to do that a lot. And I don't like that. And people are, you know, I remember Mo's like, no, but he's a world class guy, and he looks on the other guys, and they're not winners like him. And I think that the players didn't like the fact that he played upon that. He played upon the fact that the fans would always be defending him and say, yeah, well, Alexis is the only one putting the effort in.
I defended him with my
And if you
do you still feel the same way?
If you look at the stats,
with me, it's a bit difficult because he's gone United, isn't it? So fucking Burns, isn't it? But
so it's easy to look back on it and say, yeah, you know what, he was a dick, but like,
yeah, but it's like I got love for Alexis. It's like Van Persie as well. There's certain man that I've got love for, and it's like I know why he's left, innit? Everyone knows it.
But if you look at his stats, right, when he was having a go at everybody else,
his stats were shit though, blood.
His stats were giving the ball away.
Yeah, I remember in the United
among some of the worst in the Premier League.
He gave the ball away 36 times against
and there are people that defend that by basically saying, of course you're going to give the ball away when you're taking on more people and that sort of thing. But to me, it's not even. I mean, he's clearly a world class player that is maybe one of 5 to 10 players in the world that can just strap a team on his back and
win the game by himself.
Win the game by himself. That's the problem. He can only win the games by himself.
Yeah.
And
he's not really a team player. He's a team player for Chile, but for a club,
he is for Chile.
He's on his own team.
But even for Chile,
they all go through. Everything goes through him.
He fell out with a lot of the players at Chile as well because he had that same attitude again when the chips were down and it looked like Chile weren't going to qualify. He's blaming other people, sulking. Now, this is a team game. It's not one guy that plays the game. Even Messi, he needs Busquets.
Anybody proved that?
He needs PK.
Anybody proved that it was Leicester a few years ago. I mean, the team is greater than the sum of its parts. And you know, we talked about it last week a little bit, and you know, I'm getting very careful not to get too excited over one game. Now it's 2 games with Chelsea, but you know, the team is playing for each other. They look like they're playing for each other now.
And that's a starting point.
It is.
Listen.
I think
we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna miss him.
I think give it 10 games. And
I mean they'll come out Tuesday against Swansea and shit the bed, and we're all going to look stupid for getting so excited.
Let's not forget he's world class. So we are not going to be. As
you know
good.
how I feel.
We're not going to be as good without him unless we get a replacement. If we get Aubameyang, I think that's a great replacement.
You Gooners in America, that's the new thing, yeah. About my blood clot, yeah.
But I just feel that you know, I just feel that, you know, the time had come for us to move him on.
It's sad though.
You know, it was getting really. I just felt that, you know, every game is he starting. I remember at the Chelsea game. Oh, he's on the bench. Yeah. His negativity even before the game's begun.
Yeah.
All that's gone as well. All that negativity. We know he's not here no more.
Yeah.
So we've got to get on with what we've got.
I mean, you can't convince me that he wasn't a divisive factor in the locker room. I mean, people speculate about that. Some people
it's
know
not
a little
speculation.
Bit more.
I know. I can tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably know a little bit better than I am, but I'm just observing that it's so obvious to the outside.
Yeah. He fell out with Jack. He fell out with Ramsey.
He fell out with Koscielny.
Fell out with Kos.
I had some insider sort of information that, you know, the other day when he'd gone, that was the best they trained for ages because they just felt
Free.
freedom. They just because I felt that the vibes that I was getting is that they just felt that just go, man. It's just all this negative. It's a bit like Aubameyang at the moment at Dortmund.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, it's
I think
funny.
some of the players at Dortmund are like, I'll just go.
And here we are welcoming him. It's just.
Well, it's football, isn't
It
it?
can change, though. Yeah.
What we're seeing at the moment is football.
Yeah.
It's the hope that once he gets here, he'll fit into the team dynamic and won't be another Alexis. But it goes around.
Yeah, Alexis wasn't like that at first. That's why I say United have got themselves a great player. He will not do that at Man United because you don't think him and Mourinho are going to fall out soon. Not at first.
Not first.
Maybe later on, but
I can't wait.
I say by next season, February, him and Mourinho will fall out.
I don't think
and it'll
so.
destroy the team from inside.
Unfortunately,
obviously it could work out with United winning 4 league titles in a row, but I see there's such a potential for that thing to get blown up by
City. I think City got more than United, to be honest.
I don't think it will. They've invested too much money in Alexis to fall out with him. You know what I mean? They cannot afford.
No, but this is Mourinho blood.
Yeah,
you know how Mourinho is.
Not a player where they've invested.
He fell out with Ilka Casillas, the legend of Real Madrid. You get my Alexis blood.
Yeah, but they didn't buy him, did they? They didn't. You look at even with Lukaku. Even when Lukaku was going through that really bad patch, he defended him to the hilt because they've spent a lot of money on this guy. It has to work, and I feel that it's going to be similar with Alexis.
Well, I think ultimately we the best you could have hoped for from this thing is to get them out, clear out the mentality of the team. I can see in their goal celebrations. I mean, people talk about the goal celebration with Koscielny. I don't run 75 yards if my wife had a baby. So I don't blame Koscielny for that. But
because you run 75 yards. Okay, if the pole boy's at the other end of it.
Now, if it's food, that's a different story.
I hear you.
But yeah, I think a lot of those things are overblown, like who's celebrating with each other, who's not. But I mean, I did watch the goal celebrations during the Chelsea game, and the team just looks excited to have success.
I can't lie, they look happy.
And I've been talking to a handful of people this weekend about this, just getting in conversations about the whole Alexis thing, and Arsenal, we had talent on the team, but Arsenal used to beat teams in the tunnel, walking out because they would look into their eyes, and I mean, first of all, they'd see.
You see the size of them.
Well, you'd see Vieira, you'd see
Bergkamp,
you'd see
these Parla, you see Edu, Gilberto, Tony. You know what I mean? Like, you're shitting yourself for the game. Like, now you look and you see a Bellerin, some little 2-foot midget with a fucking banner with a fucking ponytail. Like,
but yeah, he's a whole nother story. But yeah, I mean, I think they also see the look in their eyes and how they're looking at each other. And I mean, this is sounding like a little cheesy, but I think you can tell when a team's together and when they're not. Mm-hmm. And I think Nottingham Forest went on to, well, that's different because of the lineup we played against Nottingham Forest. But the Swansea, the Watford. Let's use Watford as an example because of what Troy Deeney said. I think you go there and you line up next to these guys and then you shake their hands and you see that they're not together as a team, and that gives you the ability to kick on. And if we can rid ourselves of that, we'll see on Tuesday against Swansea.
We still though need to add quality to that team. I mean, it's great. It's great having team spirit. West Brom have got team spirit.
Yeah.
Palace have got team spirit.
Palace have got. They're all down the bottom. I want us to add the proper quality. Now, if we could get Aubameyang in, we've got Mkhitaryan. All of a sudden you start to have a team that, as well as having the team spirit, is starting to look a bit frightening.
You got to have both, but
you start to look a bit frightening. If you look at a front three and you say, right, that front three of Aubameyang, Lacazette, Mkhitaryan, you've got Ozil and Wilshere in behind. Now all of a sudden I'm starting to see a team that, there's togetherness and team spirit, and you know what? And there's some proper quality in there that can really damage the team, because we are going to miss Alexis Sanchez. He's world class. He can make things happen, like you said, and I really feel that we have to get that Aubameyang deal over the line, because then the negativity, if it's not done, the negativity could quickly return.
And we have some user questions that go into that a lot. So before we do that, though, it's we're still 1-1 at the game, and Chelsea had to score another goal. And frankly, they looked up for it. I mean, the goal was a little bit fluky. Xhaka is known to leave a leg out. This time he stuck his leg out at the right time. Once again, though, I know Lacazette was looking for Iwobi at the edge of the 18.
Yeah.
But he found Rudiger again. And, I mean, Rudiger, man,
Man of the match.
You got to feel for that guy almost a little bit.
Great performance.
That was not exactly his
Sign him up.
His highlight reel. But
it was still great for Granit Xhaka, the way he reacted. You know, his anticipation and that.
You said that you've never seen him that far forward in the
I've
box.
again, that's it. I've
who
never
would have been
seen.
there?
I've never.
You said it. Who would have been there, fam? If it was Xhaka.
I've never seen him. Again, is that a knock-on effect from the fact that Alexis not in the team?
Yeah.
He was like in a 6-yard box. I've never seen him in a 6-yard box before.
First I see him go with
Granit
like
Xhaka.
the edge of the semicircle, and then he stops,
yeah.
and then he's back again.
Well, because he's clogging up Alexis' spot. Again, it goes back to that. But yeah, I mean, Lacazette couldn't have pinged it off of Rudiger any better than he did. Again, with the protractors and shit. This was a very like a geometry teacher would love this game because but
it's a great performance. You know what?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people forget. For me, where we really won that game was the first leg. We went into that game right at Stamford Bridge, a really difficult place to go.
It's perfectly sloppy.
We had so many people missing for that game.
So many.
We had the whole Alexis thing over us. We had Chambers, we had Holding. We'd just been beaten by Bournemouth, a terrible defensive performance. And I think that they really defended well on that day.
Yeah,
and that's where we won. I feel that's where we won it. Because we went there, we didn't concede. We stayed in the game.
Well, we kept that mentality of kind of being Chelsea's bogey team recently.
Yeah,
we kept it going by not conceding it.
And I was always pretty confident if we getting back to the Emirates would be all right, because if we could get back there unscathed, and we did. So at first leg we played brilliantly. Yeah,
I mean I thought that was not exactly the most entertaining game to watch, but you win ugly, or you draw ugly in that case.
Get the job done.
You get the job done, and job was done. There's another cup final. So for you, where does the League Cup, the Carrot Top Cup, whatever you want to call it, where does that rank on your things to get excited about? I mean, normally the Charity Shield and the League Cup only matter when Mourinho wins them. Otherwise, they don't matter. But I mean, is it something for you to get excited about? It's a cup final. It's in February, but it's a cup final.
For me, it's a cup final. Listen, it's not one of the prestigious cups, we know that. But
I'll take it.
I always look at trophies sometimes, right, is that how you've won it as well. Now, to win this, we're going to have to beat Chelsea and Man City. A bit like last year.
Do the reverse from what we had to do.
You've got to do it the hard way. It's not going to be, you haven't got...
We had it pretty easy up until then, but we at least didn't get the,
You're going to have to win this the hard way. And for me, it will be a massive boost if Arsenal could win it. And I want us to win it. It's a day out at Wembley. And when you go to Wembley, you want to win. And, if we can go there and beat the best team in the country at the moment, I think it'd be great. It'd be a great trophy to win.
And I think we're in with a shot.
Wenger's never won the Carabao or the League Cup before.
Yeah, it's the one thing he's missing. Well, one of two things that he's missing.
One of three.
Well, I mean, do we have our cojones back? Did we ever have? Have we grown them?
Well,
did they come out when Alexis took his cojones to Manchester? I mean, what?
They've shown cojones recently. I think they've shown cojones. They've bounced back from poor performances and things like that. So if they can win this, I think it'd be brilliant. Now, to kick on, we also need to kick on for the rest of the season in the league and try and get that top 4 place. If we can do that, then I might say, well, we're showing some cojones, because then I might see you have to do it over a period of time. It can't just be in cup competitions.
Yeah.
But, to get to a final, again, listen, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
I'll take a trophy every year. I mean, it certainly was not that way for a long time. But
do you remember everyone used to say, "Oh, Arsenal haven't won a trophy for 8 years, 9 years."
Yeah, I remember the clock, and then the clock went like we haven't won a trophy in 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah, but so we used to get criticised so heavily for it, and then recently we're winning, trophies nearly every year.
We're winning cups here and there, so you're just assuming we're not going to lose in the third round of the FA Cup. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
The only thing though is that I always find annoying is that we're not competing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And
That's
that
what
takes the gloss off of the trophies we win. We've got to compete in that Premier League.
Because love the FA Cup. You understand? Love days out at Wembley, but these trophies should be part of doubles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ideally, that would be nice. And I mean, I think we can kick on and get top 4. I mean, there's enough parity. I mean, you see what they've lost to the worst 2 teams in the Premier League back to back.
Their shit shaking in ours, blood.
You know, and they'll go through periods where they look unbeatable because of their offensive prowess, but they are shakier than us. They're ahead of us now, but I don't think they will be for long. Spurs, scum. They do exist, but I think top 4 is there for the taking.
Yeah, it is. If we
especially
get Aubameyang, then it's on.
Well, it should be.
Then it's fucking on. I tell you that for free. It's on if we get Aubameyang. I tell you that for free.
A lot of people telling me the other day that you got no chance of getting in the top 4. I'm like, why? There's still like loads of games left. Yes, we are in the worst position out of all of the
Top
the
6.
big boys going into it, but
When you're
there's
number
still-
6 of the top 6, that's not good.
yeah, but
There's
it's
a
still like
thing
there's
there.
plenty of games out there to get back into it now.
And we've done this before.
You know, if we could get a result against Swansea, and then say we used to go to Wembley and get a result against Tottenham, something we haven't done for ages, get a result
we've
against
got
them away.
away.
All of a sudden, people might be saying, "Well, hold on, we're starting to become favourites to get in the top 4." Who would have thought Liverpool would have went and lost to Swansea after beating Manchester City 4-3? You would never,
And
ever,
then losing the cup yesterday as well.
yeah, you wouldn't have thought it. So, and it's like you can have a dip.
Yeah.
So,
And you got to take advantage of those.
And we've
dips.
done we've done this where we've been 12 points behind top 4 and clawed it back.
yeah.
You understand?
It ain't going to be easy because
It
there's
ain't
so
gonna
many,
be easy because
a lot
you
of teams
got that.
chasing down those spaces.
Yeah, and
And
you have to be real. There are some ballers in the other teams.
I
It's
feel
just-
now that Alexis has gone to Man United that they're nailed on to getting that top 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to finish top 2 will be City United.
Yeah.
And then I think 3rd and 4th will be, I don't know.
But then even
probably
Chelsea-
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Chelsea been slipping up recently as well. Oh, and they beat Brighton the other day, but before that they were slipping up, loads of draws. But we got to take advantage of that. And I feel Pep bring in that Aubameyang signing, get fans excited again. We've been going to games and the vibe
The Bournemouth
has not
game
been the same.
was
There's
the
been a
worst
lot-
vibe, like. When we turned up, I was like, Robbie, this don't feel right.
Yeah, it's been a lot of apathy.
This don't feel right. You could feel it in
It's
there.
been apathy. It's been
was
apathy.
just-
It's like-
That's the only thing worse than negativity.
Yeah,
Apathy.
these fans are like, you
He's
go to
going there, he's
what do you reckon
struggling.
what do you reckon the results going to be tonight? I don't know.
I'll take a 1-1.
You know what
Like,
we're-
this is fucking Bournemouth. We do
take
take
a
a fucking 1-1.
Yeah, they're like,
No, that you went to Bournemouth, but we are the Arsenal, you know what I mean? Like, we should be going there and killing off these teams.
they're like, you know what we're like, Robbie. You know what I mean?
We'll go out 1-0, we'll fucking lose it, then what happened?
And then you have people, after the game, they'll be like, it's no surprise that we
Yeah.
lost. It's an apathy. I don't like it. We need to.
Were the away
The
fans?
team needs to reverse that.
Did I hear at the Forest game where you got, not you particularly, but were the away supporters chanting "We're fucking shit"?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
fucking shit.
Yeah, we do
That
that
you
all
can
the
hear
time.
that loud.
We do that all the
and
time.
Yeah.
We like Raggo, like even I never went Palace last year, but these lot went.
I was at that game, and I was just about to ask you. I was about to ask you about that game because I remember I actually went to that game with Judge and Tom Canton and Ola, and after the game we were milling around while you guys were doing your filming because we were waiting for Lee. I've never seen so much negativity. I mean, that was vile.
I was watching it at home, and I was like, I felt kind of sorry for Bellerin.
It's very toxic.
When Bellerin
And it
couldn't
wasn't
get the
even-
ball, I was like, it's not even his fault.
That was.
But it was for the whole team.
The guy that was holding that ball was 4 seats away from me. So
Yeah.
I have a video that I posted of it, and it was surreal because I'm like, is this really happening? I'm not going to participate in it, but I'm fascinated by. I mean, this has just turned.
But
so
that was
toxic.
a turning point.
So there was because they switched
Because
to
they
the
kicked
back
on from there.
They turned to the back three after that.
They kicked on.
They stopped playing Walcott.
Bellerin
what his comments
was
were.
unlucky that night. He was like the nearest person.
Yeah, he was,
was.
and he was him, and he was just
in the crowd.
It
he
wasn't.
was just standing there.
It
like, I
wasn't
was like-
directed at him. It was directed at the whole squad,
Yeah.
but it really
Yeah.
ended up.
Yeah.
Falling on him. But
Yeah.
that was a shit. And the funny thing is, the one guy on that pitch that night that people were cheering for and showing respect to
was Alexis.
was Chambo.
Yeah, an Ox.
The Ox was, because he was the only guy that looked like he cared. And then what happened 6 months later, or 4 months later? But all right, so transfer market. We've talked about Pierre, Barack, Aubameyang a bunch last week. Everyone's claiming the deal's done, but then Dortmund's coming out with statements basically saying, "Here's how much more money we need, and he's yours." Are we going to lose this over £7 or £8 million?
We can't afford
AKA a year of Wenger's salary?
We can't. I don't think we can afford to. I think there's a lot of brinkmanship going on between the two clubs. You can't blame Dortmund. They want as much money as they can for this guy. I mean, really and truly, even...
Well, he's not out of contract in the summer either, right?
Yeah,
so it's not like
he's got time on his contract. They know he wants to go.
Let's be real, 60 million for Aubameyang, fam. That's cheap. Like,
he told him he wants to leave. They know they're going to have to sell him. They know they have to sell him. I think now they want to sell him now. Before, I think they didn't want to sell him until the summer. Yeah. But now they want to sell him now.
So who has the leverage? It almost feels like we have the leverage at this point, but they're just going to stick it to us if we don't meet their price.
I really think...
The ball is in Dortmund's court because Dortmund know that we're under pressure.
I don't think so.
They know.
I think
they could command what they want.
But they're going to end up with a toxic situation themselves.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Troopz. I think it's half and half. I think that a lot of strength is in Arsenal's court as well, because they know that the player 100% wants to come to Arsenal. There's nobody else really that's coming for him, right, at the moment.
We had that with Suarez, though.
No, but at the moment, there's nobody else that's coming for him, right? And they need to get rid of him because the fans... Suarez, Liverpool wanted to keep him. Yeah, the fans wanted to keep him. The Dortmund fans don't really want him there. And also, the other thing with Dortmund that's really interesting is that the fans are really unhappy with the owners of the club. That they lose because they're losing lots of players. They lost Dembele. They've, now they're looking at...
they've always had to put up with guys going to Bayern, but now they're just anywhere they want to go.
But now, they're losing a lot of players now, and the fans are really unhappy about it.
Well,
but they also know that they need to get rid of Aubameyang and use that money and bring someone else in. And I think there's a lot of pressure on them. I think they're playing tough and saying, well, you've got to, but
do you think
I think that's why Arsenal a little bit relaxed on it and say, well, you know what, we'll wait until nearer the dead, because when you know the player wants to come to you, that gives you a lot of leverage.
It's rare for us to be on this side of it, because I mean, Barcelona's bent us over the sink and had their way with us so many times because they know that those guys want to go to Barcelona.
Look at the Alexis thing, right? I know it's a different thing because there's hardly any time left on the contract, but the teams, City, initially, they knew that he wanted to come to them. So they were relaxed. It was only the thing that changed that whole thing. United came in. Now, that's what Arsenal have to be careful of here, that somebody else don't come in.
I could see Chelsea
last minute
saying, Peter Crouch and Andy Carroll... Okay,
but again,
they've turned us down. Let's just go and here's a £60 million check.
Yeah, but again, I think that Arsenal are all right again on that, because Chelsea are not going to come in for Aubameyang because they've already invested
75 on
heavily in Morata. They, unless they get rid of Morata.
But didn't we just spend 52 on Lacazette? Different players, but
but then Baba could go on the left, and Laka could go down the middle.
And plus we bought in a load of money, and Chelsea they've made a big investment on this guy. I think they've got to make him work, Morata.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Arsenal are in quite a strong position as well, and it's going to come down to kind of who blinks first. I kind of get the feeling it will get done. They'll meet in the middle somewhere, and I think what it is with Dortmund, they wanted Giroud. That would have made the deal a lot easier. If they could have got Giroud, even on a 6-month loan, or to got Giroud, that would have made the deal a lot smoother for them. The fact that Giroud doesn't really want to go there is what it seems to appear.
Giroud at Dortmund just doesn't seem like a good match. Like if he goes anywhere, I think it's back to France. But
his wife's pregnant as well, so I think that's got a lot to do with it as well.
But I don't know. I think
is it his?
It's a
he got shot.
I have no idea where that came from.
But
that's a listener question.
I think Aubameyang is a doable deal. There's a lot of.
I think it's doable, but
pressure's on Gazidis. Gazidis got to make this deal happen. I think the new guys that have come in have set the deal up.
Yeah,
it seems obvious that they've used their influence to be able to set it up. Gazidis now that it's money, now it's down to money. That's all on Gazidis.
Well, it'll be Sky Sports standing on the street. It'll be one of those deals this time.
Because with your Sven Mislintats and people like that, it's their job to identify players and say, right, let's go for him.
Yeah.
The money part of it's going to be down to Gazidis. Is he going to get this deal done? He's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
he's under a lot of pressure. He needs to get it done.
So what's up with this Benzema rumor that just popped up? I mean, are they trying to use that to drop
I think that's a smoke screen.
the smoke screen? Yeah.
They always. You always.
I thought we got out of the Benzema business about 3-4 years ago, but
Do you know what? I was a big Benzema fan, but fam, he's fucking finished. He's finished, blood. He's finished, fam. I'm telling you, blood.
yeah, it's
that bolt.
You're better off going for Aubameyang. That ball sold about 3 years ago.
the Cavani thing. I mean, there's just these guys
There's
that
another one.
I just got tired of hearing after a while. Like, would I have loved for them to come at that
Like,
time?
I've actually, like, when we got Alexis, he was like one of the first players I actually wanted that he signed. Like, when we got Ozil, I didn't really want him. I rated Ozil, but Alexis was a guy like, and like Aubameyang's like that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if he gets Aubameyang,
and Jan Mavilla, I mean, just those guys.
even like, don't even get me on that one, man.
So, Jonny Evans is the other one that people are talking about. It's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. I mean, he's been discussed, but it just didn't seem like there was any discussion about that. But I'm hearing from you guys actually that that's legit. So
They want him.
I don't know who was
they-
that. I heard City have got in for him today or something. I City are looking at him again.
I mean,
so
West Brom has basically said he's for sale, I think. And,
West Brom got a bit of a tricky situation
How do you
with Jonny
feel about
Evans because Jonny Evans, it got revealed he's got his release clause that he can, if they get relegated, he can leave
out
for
for
£3 million.
right,
Oh
yeah.
shit!
So if they're in a position right now that they can get 20 to 25 million pounds,
They'll cash in.
they're going to have to, on a 30-year-old player, they have
he's
to cash
30.
in.
Yeah.
Now, for me, at first, when it was in the summer and we were linked
what
to
the
him,
fuck
I
is
was
this?
like, Jonny Evans. I was like, it's so underwhelming.
Is that the best we could do?
Yeah, but then
People have warmed up to it a lot. All of a sudden, he's like,
I think people have warmed up to it for
Pep.
2 reasons. Number one, City have come in.
Yeah,
for it. So
Pep's
people
got
are
in.
like, well,
So they're like-
if City want him, he must be half decent. But I also think
Fergie effect.
they look on
Yeah.
Jonny Evans and they say to themselves, they look at our defence, and it's so unorganised that maybe a guy like a Jonny Evans could come in and use his
organise.
experience to organise the defence.
yeah, he's not your flashy player. He's not anyone that's gonna, he's not gonna
Just,
be your Tony
That's
Adams.
what it
But
says on the tin sort of player, isn't it? He's just like
Russell.
and he's primarily tried and tested. He knows the game. He doesn't have to adjust like Mustafi who
Fergie
his
rated
adjustment-
him. Fergie rated him. Fergie didn't sell him. It was moist.
He's not exactly the new generation to take over for Koscielny, but he could certainly, if we do play 3 at the back, he's another option who's a true center back rather than a
we
converted.
kind of need experience in that. I mean, look at that goal against Forest. That one.
Which one?
The set piece one where we were trying to play a high line, but then
Oh,
we had
yeah.
like a
Oh,
wall
Jesus.
playing everybody else on.
Yeah, the kick from.
Look at the goal against Bournemouth. We have 4 defenders running towards one player, and just left the 2 and 1 in the box. You know what I
Holding
mean?
played him
Our
inside.
defending has been
Non-existent.
absolutely diabolical. I still think we need a holding midfielder as well. I
100%.
really do. I think that's even more important than the centre half.
I've been saying CDM, centre back, and a goalie.
Yeah,
Because
I
Czech's
don't-
finished as well.
I don't think you're going to get all of those things done in
Summertime you could.
in January.
No,
So-
summertime. But look, imagine
I'm surprised
now
we're
you
getting
get-
anything done.
Yeah, like, imagine now you get Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, and maybe Evans, and then summer you go get a goalie in the CDM. When you look at the next season now, blood. This thing's looking mad, looking mad, fam.
A lot better than it seemed like it was going to be
Real talk.
last summer. So, got some time for some user questions. We call them user questions because we want people to use our podcast, not just listen to it. And we don't really ask what they're using it for. But so, from our, we've been fortunate enough to make friends with a lot of people that do Arsenal podcasts. I mean, there's room for everybody that wants to do a podcast as long as you're interested. And we've made some good connections, and we ask questions on theirs, they ask questions on ours. Clock and Talk podcast have asked for Robbie, what's the best country you've traveled with ArsenalFanTV for a game, and is there a country where you are a bit fearful for your safety? Now, I'm guessing Belarus. You're now the king of Belarus, so that's not going to
Oh,
be best country.
I probably have to say I really enjoyed that LA trip last year.
You're just saying that because you're
Steve's
here now.
hospitality was brilliant, but no, I loved it. San Jose, and that was a really, really the weather. That was such a well organised trip. I think that was brilliant. The Australia one was good as well. Sydney, that was really well organised, really good weather, really good trip. I'd say slightly I'll have to go for the one in LA.
That was a fun time, man.
That was a brilliant tour.
And how about a place? And I would imagine this would be more along the lines of a Europa or Champions League visit. But where were you like just happy to get the hell out of there when it was over?
Normally Tottenham every year.
That's true. That's forget the war.
If you survive that, you're good.
Normally it's just like when you
mile
got
up
out
the
of
road.
Tottenham. When you got out of Tottenham, you're like,
Thank the Lord. We made it.
Because that's a rough game for me because they all recognise
You're
me.
a target.
You can't go down there. There's other fans that'll go down there. Like, I'm not wearing my colours.
Just put a hat on like this. And
no one
recognize
it. Don't work.
They don't work.
They're actually looking for me. So.
They're looking for man.
No, that's not going to work. So yeah, Tottenham's are pretty rough.
The country of Tottenham. And but I mean, is there in your European travels? Is there a place, or I mean, as much as I'd heard about Athens and Olympiacos about just be careful. It couldn't have been safer. I mean, the police took good care of us.
Even like the other day, Red Star Belgrade, that was alright. A lot of people were saying to me before that, they're racist there, don't go there, but the people were really, really nice. I mean, after the game, there was about a gazillion police.
Well, yeah.
So,
they keep you in there for what, an hour?
Yeah. Italy's not the greatest place to go to.
Naples, a couple of years ago.
Naples is fucked.
And the racism there still
rife.
It's still rife. And it's going to be interesting. I think I'll probably be heading to Russia.
World Cup?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that is. I think some of these countries where the racism is still rife, I don't think they should be allowed. I think they should be told that if you're going to have fans monkey charting and stuff like that, you're out.
Yeah,
you're not
you
in
can't
it.
give this.
You can't be
thing
part of the Champions League family if you're going to behave in that way. So but obviously some of these countries are big countries, are powerful. They let but Italy's got a lot to sort out.
Yeah,
it's terrible. You go to Rome. Those places are dangerous. And the security for away fans at those sort of grounds not good enough.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, so don't go to Rome and don't go to.
Well, I didn't say don't.
Don't walk up Seven Sisters Road either.
No, that is dangerous.
All right. Next question from Sebi, who is our self-described unpaid intern. He posts memes of ridiculous shit with my face on it. I'm sure there'll just be a tweet that pops up pretty soon of what this scene would look like. And this is an interesting question because you and I actually had a conversation about this last year. Has the club come to you and asked for your suggestions on improving the atmosphere in the stadium? And if so, have you seen them make strides in addressing your suggestions and making changes?
No and no. They haven't come and asked me. I mean, I've spoken to Ivan Gazidis. You guys thought you were there when I was speaking to him, and one of the things I said to him was, I go, what do we do to improve the atmosphere at the stadium? It's really, really annoying to me that we've got this world-class stadium, the best stadium in the country in England, without a doubt. We've been to every ground. He's better than Wembley.
It is.
The Emirates is a better stadium than Wembley.
It is.
Right? But the atmosphere sometimes is terrible, and the club make no effort. I mean, I've seen recently they've done things like, before the games, they give people flags. They did a light show the other day, but more is required. Now, I said to Ivan Gazidis, why can't we have a couple of singing areas in the club? They don't have to be big.
Yeah.
All the teams in Europe, they do it. Every single club that comes from, and this is not just an Arsenal problem, this is an English football problem, in that we've made the grounds too sterile now. Because of what happened at Hillsborough, and we got rid of terraces and that, and we don't want people standing up too much and that. You only go to games, you see the away fans, they're all stood up, they're lively, but everybody else at home has to sit down. And it's
West Ham game last year, I was in the very last row of the clock end upper, the very last row. And we were standing up, and the steward came up and told us to sit down.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's literally nothing behind us but air and the street.
Yeah, but that is restrictions that are put on the club, some of those.
But it's not my decision.
But what I'm saying is, put in a couple of areas, singing sections in, PSG is an all-seater stadium, but the place is rocking.
Mad.
Right, so I'm saying that, you know, putting, you know, Ivan Gazidis' response to that was, but you can't expect people to move from their seats. Oh, you do some initiative to try and make that happen. I think there's initiatives you can come up with where you say to people, we're going to turn this into a singing area. If you would like to stay in this area, just be aware that from now on it's going to be noisy. It might be drums, whatever. Right. If you don't like that, you can swap your seat with somebody else who'd like to come into the area. Why not try things like that? And I just don't feel that enough effort is made to try and make the atmosphere better there. I just feel, I look on it sometimes and I say, if there was a problem with the boxes, the corporate boxes,
you do something about it
they'll
quick.
sort that problem out. There's a problem with the atmosphere. There seems to be no will to sort that out, and you know, that's one thing I'd love to improve.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I had thought that I had recalled you saying that there was that they'd expressed some interest in workshopping that, and then it's unfortunate.
I mean, I think it's going to be something that us as fans are going to have to just try and.
But do you think that the price of tickets, Category A match, £96. My friend, I got my son's friend, £96. The average fan can't afford that. So
the fan that wants to make that noise can't.
So in that whole upper level, we've had this conversation before. In that whole upper level is where most of us U.S. fans from Arsenal America get tickets. So we're there at a Category A match. We want to sing, and the rest of the people around us are families, rich families of 4 or whatever it is, and they're like just shh. You know, they're telling us be quiet.
They're having a day
don't
out.
Stink. Don't sing. They're having a day out.
No doubt, Steve. That's a problem. It's a problem. Just in general. I mean, the other one that really winds me up. Again, it's not just Arsenal. This is an English football problem right now. 15 minutes ago, a game, you see masses of people leave it go.
Did you see that video? When the guy was by when you come out of North Bank and you go over the bridge, go over that one, then you come down the stairs. They were fucking racing to get to the train station. There was 15 minutes left in the game, like.
I don't understand it. Well, why bother come?
Yeah, it's really sad when you away fans start singing "Is There a Fire Girl?" That's essential stodgy stuff.
Yeah, we did the same thing at Olympiacos, though.
We go abroad and we'd be singing it we go to away games. Yeah. And we'll be singing it to their fans. It's a problem when I used to first go to football, nobody left early. As a matter of fact, if you left early, you'd be looked down upon. People looking at you going, where you going? Yeah. Game ain't over here. Well, you're not a proper fan. Nowadays, people just, It'd be like 2-1 down, and we're all over the other team trying to get that equaliser.
Like the Chelsea game.
Oh, I see Rob's gone. What?
Like the Chelsea game.
What are you talking about?
Like the Chelsea game in the league.
Yeah.
People were clearing in front. I was like row 7. Man were clearing in front of me, but when it was 2-1.
I mean,
I'm like, what do you do?
Being on a crowded train platform really isn't that bad. That you have to leave and miss a sixth of the game that you could.
And what you said there, Steve's true. We need to get more young. The other night, that's one of the things about going to watch games like the Carabao Cup, is the fact that that's not a season ticket.
Right, you get
game,
a different.
Right, so even me, I wasn't sat I was sat upper tier in that. I normally sit lower, but the tickets are only 20 quid. So affordable, lots of youngsters there, lots and lots of youngsters, teenagers, people like that. To me, there was a better atmosphere there than normal because they all wanted to sing. You need to get these young people into the ground. There's too many old people like myself and older in the grounds right now. We need younger fans. They're the ones that carries this thing forward, that keeps it going. They're the ones that will want to sing. An older person ain't going to want to jump up and down.
Why's my voice
Younger people are going to want to sing.
Why's my voice gone? Singing Arsenal songs last night.
You ain't young.
I am young. Don't hate. You don't hate.
But you know what I mean, though. You are right.
Some of those songs you were singing too, man. We almost had it out, but
yeah, I know. I get a bit, you know what I mean.
He looks across and
the derby's coming, so boy.
I'm giving him a look.
Troopz.
Come on, man.
Sorry, Mike.
We need to get younger. You're right, Steve. The prices. You know, but again, and
the more they pay, the less they care.
Yeah.
It's a weird, it's a weird dichotomy there.
In the interim, without, we know there's a problem with not it being all seater. We know there's a problem with ticket prices, but in the interim, we can still get that atmosphere better than what it is at the moment It's embarrassing.
It's like
that when these teams, when Cologne came,
they took over.
Their fans were amazing, right? And we just stood up there. It's our ground.
Yeah. Got a couple more questions from, and we've kind of addressed this already. From Marcus Brown, it says, how much would Arsenal's reputation take a hit if they don't sign Aubameyang? And frankly, reputation in the transfer market, I don't see how our reputation could be any worse in the transfer market. So I don't know that it even takes a hit in the transfer market specifically.
It takes a massive hit if we don't get this deal done. It sends out a message that we still can't get big transfers done.
We're not serious.
It sends out a message of that we're lacking in ambition. It's like, you know, if we're an ambitious club, we need to get this deal done. And it's simple as that. You can't lose Alexis Sanchez, a world-class player, and then turn around and say, well, actually, they wanted a bit too much money, so we didn't get it done. No, we've got money in. We've got money in for Sanchez. People say that was a straight swap. I don't think it was. From what I'm hearing, we've got about £10 million for that, and United had to pay that.
And that didn't all go to his agent? Yeah,
United had to pay Riola's fees as well. Mkhitaryan's agent, right? We've got £40 million in for Ox. We've got £20 million in for Walcott. we got money in for Gabriel. We got money in for Coquelin. You know what I mean?
Chesney.
Forget that.
Chesney.
Coquelin 10 to 15 million pounds. The money is there.
We're still throwing that Nabry money around.
Last year we were actually in profit.
The only club.
So there's no reason why they cannot get this deal done. And it will be a massive hit to us if we don't get it. We have to get this deal done.
And a follow-up question from Carl Robinson asks, if the deal falls through, which one person is to blame?
Gazidis, yeah. Because he's the money guy.
Yeah.
The other guys can get the...
You don't blame Huss Fahmy?
No, but how these things work is those guys can identify the players, those guys can line it all up and get it all in place.
And then he comes with the piece.
Someone's got to release the money.
Yeah. And if you don't press the button...
And if Gazidis says, actually, we can't afford that...
He can fuck himself.
Question, is it coming from Gazidis or is it coming from Kroenke, who's building his stadium?
Kroenke doesn't even know who Aubameyang is.
Yeah.
No, he just looks at the money. 60 million? Wait a minute. You know, what's that affect my luxury suite building in California?
Well, we see with Kroenke that he doesn't get him, you know...
He don't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. He doesn't get involved.
Nope.
You know, Ivan Gazidis...
The only way he's going to get involved is if he's going to call up his buddy Arsen and say, do you think this is a guy worth spending 60 million on? And that's what we're...
I don't even think that he'll call Wenger.
Ivan Gazidis...
That's how bad it is. I don't think he'll call Wenger. I don't think he's got a clue about the deal.
Stan Kroenke absolutely loves Ivan Gazidis. Since he's taken over
doubled up
at the club, he's doubled his investment. Club's now worth £1 billion. When he first took it off, it was worth £500 million.
It could be worth $2 billion if he were ready to sell it.
Yeah, but you know, his investment is making him a lot of money right now, and he's having to do minimal work. He just sits on his ranch,
eats hot dogs,
you know, and he's nice. So you know, it's a lot of pressure on Ivan Gazidis to get this deal done. But I think I've got the feeling it will get done. There's a lot of stake on this, but I think Dortmund also not in a great position on this one.
Right.
And
do you think they're looking for a replacement and they're waiting for the deal to?
We keep hearing about Ben Yedder.
Because I'm starting to look at it differently now. I'm kind of thinking, are they looking for a replacement before they let us get Aubameyang?
Yeah, well, they've looked. You see, that's again they're under a lot of pressure because they're fans.
If they let Aubameyang go and they don't get nothing in, their fans are going to.
Did they spend the Dembele money yet?
No, they still got that.
They're kind of in an Arsenal position in that, you know.
They should just give every fan about 200 marks or 200 euros. Just like release it at the stadium, just like one of those money machines where everyone just starts grabbing it and sticking it in their belt.
They're getting money in for players, but they're not. I think their fans at the moment are looking at Dortmund and saying it's a club that's showing no ambition.
They feed the club at the moment.
It's a very similar situation.
It's a really similar situation to what Arsenal have been under, but worse.
Yeah.
In that they're not replacing these players at all. You know, and
we're getting in some dickheads.
Yeah, they're talking about. I saw the other day Max Cruz. They think of bringing in obviously Giroud, Batshuayi. They're talking about
Ben Yedder.
You know, but those are not. You know,
they're nowhere near Aubameyang.
No, they're not Aubameyang.
No, you can't. No, you have to dip into a different marketplace.
3 points out of second place, so you know they got. It's not like they can't just sit and not do anything.
They're Arsenal Germany. I mean, they're treading water, except they're recycling through managers now pretty fast, which is what we've never done.
I was a bit shocked when Tuchel went.
It's second place.
They're 3 points out of second place.
Okay, because I'm going to say I thought there was about fourth place or something.
They're in
pretty
fourth
tight.
place,
Yeah.
but 3 points out.
Yeah. But they're not playing well at the moment, are they?
Well, because they're not playing together. It's the same. There's so many
Because
parallels.
what? I swear you said Sherlock come out and cuss Aubameyang.
Yeah.
See?
You know, the fans, as I said,
They pulled out some banner thing.
Barry the other day, they said they like him gone.
Yeah.
Well,
But no
actually, he
club
didn't
is-
say
no players better than the club.
Yeah, I kind of respect them for doing that. Still.
Yeah.
Why didn't we do that
best,
with Alexis?
best
We
supporters.
put
in
up the
the world.
pictures of the dogs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking Humber, man. I started hashtag fuck Humber about 9 months ago. I saw it before everybody else did. I have no problem with Adam, but Humber. Humber's the reason, he's the little boy inside and that's been unsettling Alexis for the last 9 months.
Humber's nice now. Humber's got his United tops on.
Now Humber looked pissed off when he
Nice.
had United one.
Nice big house.
See, now it's in vogue to hate Humber, but I started that shit. Last question. It's a two-part question. One, it's from Schwinn, my buddy back in the DC area, also of the Clock and Tot. One memory you'll take and cherish from Gooner Gras, besides this one, of course, right here, and then one player, past or present, that didn't play for Arsenal that you would love to see or would have loved to see in an Arsenal shirt. Gooner Gras memory. Any particular?
Oh, it's been all good, man. I enjoyed last night, like the parade thing and up on that balcony.
Now, for anyone that wasn't here, it wasn't a parade of Gooners. There's an actual parade that occurs. It's like a Mardi Gras preview type of thing. It's quite raunchy and interesting, but we're all on a second floor balcony watching it, drinking, throwing beads down at people, and
it was good.
Singing Arsenal. But
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Every night's been good. It's hard to pick one.
My one was the night with me and Steve. When you lot bottled it.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
We didn't bottle it. We just came back. But when
I don't remember what happened.
When you were sleeping on my couch.
That was my favourite night.
With a glass of brandy in your hand.
Listen.
I own Troopz. When you want to put in place.
By the way,
I own Troopz.
When you see
Is that the night when you?
I live for the nights that I can't remember.
When you see Steve Manios driving around LA in a Ferrari, Steve Manios with thanks Troopz in the back.
I don't know. Listen,
no one's ever said Steve wasn't a fucking smart guy.
Listen, I don't want to expose Troopz, man, because somebody said what happens in New Orleans stays in New Orleans. So there's something that happened, but
it's not that deep.
No, it's not. No.
It's not that deep.
No.
It's something that happened on that first night.
I've been accused of something, but I know it wasn't me. Shout out Shaggy.
No, it was somebody else. It was some other Troopz.
Yeah. Man.
What was the other part?
One past or present player that you'd like to see in an Arsenal shirt, or would have liked to have
For
seen.
me, Ronaldinho.
All right, that's good.
For me, Dino, fam. Even though I'm a Zidane man, Dino, blood. When he was on shit, fam. Imagine Dino and Henry in their prime together, blood. Jeez.
Did they play together at Barca?
Yeah, but they Dino. Dino
They played against each other in the final, but
yeah, but Dino when Henry went, that's where Dino left.
Messi wouldn't be better than Arsenal shirt, would he?
You almost have to say like what player other than Ronaldo and Messi would like just because.
I'd say Dino or
that's a good shout.
Or Zidane.
Right.
Out of them two, Zidane or Dino, because for me Zidane's my favorite player. I love that. I worship.
So is Ozil better than Zidane?
Fuck no. I'll be real. He can't even step in his. In his yard, fam.
Funny enough, for a couple of years I've been saying, why don't we get someone like Aubameyang? Right, and this is true, because I've been like, he will bring back the.
Weren't we in for him for like 30 million 2 or 3 years ago?
Like when we had the pacey players up front. So
when you had Henry and Water just going pow.
So we may be 3 days away from realizing your fantasy.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not too late though. I mean, are we getting him still? I still think he's.
You get him at the right time because at least they're going to jump ship.
Yeah, I still think. Listen,
this will be his last
28.
major
He's
contract.
still got a lot to offer. And his goal scoring record is unreal.
Unbelievable.
You know, but I mean, listen, if you was talking about a player, maybe someone like a Messi, him in Arsenal's team would be phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah. I think he could
You
make
think
any
he's
team
better?
better.
You think he's better? But it's true. I'm a Ronaldo man. You're a Messi man. I think Ronaldo.
It's funny, you can't be both. You're either one or the other.
I'm CR7 all day, blood. He's just something else, fam. The way he is,
Yeah,
man. I don't care if he's Man United. That brother is deadly.
Look at Messi's his goal scoring record consistently.
Yeah, but look at Messi. Messi has natural ability. Ronaldo had to work on it. That's why I rate him more.
Well, he does put in more hard work than
No one works like Ronaldo, blood.
Yeah, but
No
I
one
just
works
think
like that,
Messi, he's just unbelievable.
Messi's unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. They're the two best players in the world. But for me, the work Ronaldo puts in and what he does out of football, he does a lot for people, blood. Messi don't do fuck all.
He doesn't even pay his
How do you
taxes.
know that?
Messi don't do nothing, blood.
How do you know?
Messi don't do nothing. I keep my eye on these kind of things, blood.
Talks to his people in Argentina.
Messi don't do
Yeah,
nothing.
he works for Oxfam or something.
Messi don't do nothing, blood. Messi don't do nothing.
Does he work for Oxfam or does he work for Oxblood?
Good one. That was brilliant.
The perfect one. Bale comes back to us, play for us,
Yeah.
and we win Champions League.
Is that okay? Because I was about to go to you for your
Yeah, I
player.
would
You would
love
take
to-
Bale?
You know, I would take Bale just
to
only if we win Champions League with them. Because what would that do to the Spurs, man?
You've just described the
capital
two
all
least
over
likely
again.
things to happen in the world.
Well, you said fantasy.
There we go.
I can see Bale coming back to Tottenham.
Yeah.
With Harry Kane.
No.
Plus money going the other way.
Nah, I can see him going United. Nah. Tottenham, you having a laugh? You ain't fucking going back to that shit up.
I can see that.
Nah. He's better than that.
Well,
His ears are bigger than their stadium.
I can see it happening. I can see Real Madrid at some stage is going to come.
They want that, but you know what? They
They're
want to
gonna
get rid of
come with Harry
Ronaldo
Kane.
as well. They
Yeah.
want Ronaldo and Bale out.
Yeah, and you got to replace those goals. And
They just
They
got
wanna both out.
to churn players through to get more
Harry
shirt
Kane's-
sales and.
Hurricane Kane's goal scoring record, I can see that happening. Man.
I can see Kane breaking the record and then going Madrid.
I hate to end the podcast talking about Harry fucking Kane, but so you guys are headed off tomorrow,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then off to Wales.
Straight back
to Swansea.
to Swansea to see Arsenal take on Swansea. Hopefully,
You think we're
debut
gonna?
for Mkhitaryan.
Think we're gonna? I'll actually
Be
still be
interesting.
here. I changed my flight back
Yeah.
from like 3:00 in the afternoon to 7, so that I could watch the match at Finn's.
Be very interesting to see how Mkhitaryan gets on.
Yeah.
You don't think there's any chance he debuts from the bench and Iwobi starts or something crazy?
Well, it is Wenger.
I think
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it is Wenger.
We just want to bid him in gently.
He'll probably bring him on and put him a fucking right back. I'm telling you.
I could see him starting on the bench. Though.
can see
People
it,
start
yeah,
going
I
mental.
can see him starting on the bench.
Over under 80th minute he comes in.
Oh, 70th. It's
He won't
Wenger
actually
70th.
have a good game in the last game as well. So
Should have scored.
you could see him.
He's gonna be like, I don't want to damage his confidence because he's finally patching it back together again. So I put Mkhitaryan on the bench instead of. We'll see, but I'd love to see a strong. I mean, just beat the team.
Go for it. Listen, the Swansea, they beat
These are the
Liverpool.
kinds of games that we lose.
They
Sometimes.
beat Liverpool the last time out. They're going to be mad confident.
They're gonna part that loss.
And we've been poor away from home. We've been dreadful away from home.
3
So,
victories all season, I swear.
Yeah, it's going to be poor. You know, we
Fucking joke, bro.
we really need to perform.
And one more question from Mike, currently in New Orleans. Who wins the Royal Rumble tonight, Troopz?
I'm hoping.
I know better than to ask you.
I can't believe this.
I'm hoping.
This is a piss take.
What do you mean? Me and Mike are watching it. I get a Mike as well, blood.
This is a- this-
Hey, you know what? Can we just give my blood clot rumble on Trinity?
I have no idea what you just said. This is. That might have been Yiddish. I'm not sure.
We call it a Jamaican translator for you.
Exactly. No, this is this is a piss take on my co-host Andy because he could not hate wrestling more.
Is it?
He calls me
That's like Robbie.
He calls me a virgin, which
Yeah, that's like
I can't be a
Robbie.
virgin because I'm clearly
That's what
pregnant.
I'm saying. I got 2 kids. Like, now for me, you know what? Yeah,
It's fake.
we were having this conversation last night, and I'd love
We
Cena
did?
to win. Yeah, you remember?
I don't
I'd
remember.
love Cena to win it.
Oh
To
God!
win what?
The Royal Rumble. I'd love Cena to win
What's
it.
the Royal Rumble? What?
Because then he'll beat Ric Flair's record.
Yeah, but when you win that, what have you?
You go to WrestleMania and fight in the main event for the title.
They give you a
Right.
ticket to WrestleMania.
But it's already been decided.
Oh,
I don't
well, of
care.
course it's already been.
They've
decided.
already been working on it all week.
So is the Premier League.
So
So is the Premier League. I mean, let's be honest.
No,
Hey,
man.
look at the refs.
honestly, listen, I can't understand how you guys follow this stuff, right?
Why?
Because it's already been, even before they step in that
There's
ring.
people who don't understand why
Did you
we're
watch?
at Arsenal.
Did you watch Love Island?
Hold on. Before they step in
watch
that
any of
ring,
that stuff?
There's people who
It's
want
been
to have
decided.
Arsenal.
It's
I
been
don't follow wrestling,
decided.
blood. It don't let me down.
What are you trying to...
It don't let me down, blood.
I
You get
really
me?
hope
Rock
that
bottom,
John Cena...
stunner, people's elbow, bare things, fam.
Huh?
Look at this one. Look at these dickheads. How fucking be Bournemouth. I'd rather go WrestleMania, mate.
John Cena's never lost to Bournemouth.
I really
Say,
hope
don't
that...
see them as Bournemouth. You can't see me, baby.
No, wrestling is...
Final word.
wrestling's a joke.
Nah,
It is actually
And then
a
you know
joke.
what makes me laugh?
It is a joke.
It's world wrestling.
No, but you're getting
entertainment.
you just said, I really hope that John Cena beats Ric Flair's
Yeah, I do.
record.
Yeah, I do what?
They've decided it already.
I don't care, but I think he deserves to beat the record. No, what?
He deserves it.
What?
He deserves it.
I like wrestling. You like fish.
The fish thing.
How about that?
What kind of Jamaican doesn't eat fish?
I am fish, I am pom pom. Simple.
I think we'll leave it right there. Until next week on Gooners in the USA. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me. It's been a blast. Have a safe trip back, and come on, you Gooners.
How could